What does true influence really look like in the hairdressing industry? Is it the numbers, the followers, the likes, or is it something deeper, something lasting? I'm Emily Chardiello, your host, and this is the Dressing Gown CEO. This episode was sparked by a post I shared on foilme.dressinggownCEO Instagram, and it's based on an article I wrote for Hair Biz titled, "Has the Big Influencer Model Run Its Course in the Hairdressing Industry?" It clearly struck a nerve, and it attracted more than 160 comments, 167 shares, and over 800 likes. So why did it resonate with so many people? Well, we're here to find out. Through the eyes of two powerful voices in our industry, Sharon Blain, whose 60-year legacy is a masterclass in reinvention, and Renee Andrews, a strategist guiding salon owners to align their content with their business goals. Together we're asking, are we celebrating the right kind of influence? And are we building businesses that last? It's real, it's raw, it's the Dressing Gown CEO. Welcome to the Dressing Gown CEO. I am Emily Chardiello, your host, and I am joined by the beautiful Renee Andrews and the highly esteemed Sharon Blain, who also has her Sharon Blain education as well. Renee Andrews, you have your own business as well. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I am in social media education. I am very heavy in business strategy in the online space. So, working with business owners, salon owners to help them to align their social media goals with their business goals to make sure that they are effective on social media. They're not wasting too much time, but they're actually jumping on and understanding exactly what it is that they need to be doing in the online space. And yeah, that's a big part of, I guess, what I do. I do a lot of workshops and teaching. We have memberships in Salon Society that we do to support industry, to help them to understand who they are as a business, what makes them unique, and how to then position them in the market to be able to speak to who their kind of clients are and then how to attract them through content on socials. So yeah, I've been hairdressing 25 years. I've done a lot of pivoting in the industry, but yeah, this for me has been my greatest, I guess, journey because it's doing it for myself now, which has been amazing. So yeah.
I love that. So you're teaching salon owners and hairdressers how to use social media to actually get bums on seats. So
Correct. Yeah.
amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. And Sharon, you don't need any introduction, but I would love it if you could let us know who you are, and what your Sharon Blain education is all about as well.
Well, obviously, I'm Sharon Blain. I've been in the industry for actually 60 years this year, and I have consistently remained in the industry and obviously tried to keep myself constantly reinventing myself to be, a spokesperson for our industry, to be a good role model. And obviously, education is very key to my heart. Obviously, an ex-salon owner for many, many years. Probably the last salon we had, well, probably 48 years I've been a salon owner, very, very successful, award-winning salon owner, but have gone on since about 2012 to do international education. So I've traveled the world teaching everybody that sits in front of me around the world how to actually dress long hair. So that's been my specialty. And this year I've moved away from the travel and decided to keep my bags packed and in the cupboard and engage in a new sort of event that I wanted to bring education to Australia. So I've been very involved in that this year.
Amazing. And you have an education event coming up as well.
Yes, Hair the Movement. So the movement is the reason the movement was put into the name was all about trying to change the way education has been delivered. Basically, since COVID, obviously, we know we've had a very strong influence of educators or influencer type educators teaching, and they've obviously controlled that space for a long time. But I don't believe they've been bringing core foundational skills to their education program. They're basically teaching a couple of tricks, but they're not actually, in my opinion, being able to create stability and sustainability for hairdressers moving forward. So I think they've been missing out, young people going to education more recently have been missing out on core foundations, skill sets that they need to have to be able to sustain 60 years if that's what they choose to do in this industry. So this event is all about bringing the best that I can find around the world. So we have 35 educators globally and throughout Australia coming together over 3 days, offering live education. That every single one of them are skilled technicians, from barbers to cutting to colorists to educate long hair to editorial and avant-garde and everything else in between, including some business components. And that will be over a 3-day event in Sydney.
It sounds like an absolutely incredible event, and people will have severe FOMO if they can't make it.
If they don't come, they will be seriously disappointed.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So this episode is derived around the post that I recently put out, which was from my article that I wrote for Hair Biz, which was about influencers and have they had their time in the hairdressing industry. I feel, we're in a time where influence is often measured in followers and filters. But what if we're missing the deeper markers of true impact? So today I'm joined by these two incredible guests who are reshaping what it means to be influential in the hair industry. One through decades of lived experience and legacy, and the other through coaching and content that helps salon owners connect with their ideal clients online. So to both of you, my first question is it influence or illusion? So do you think we need to redefine what makes someone truly influential in our industry today? Sharon, I'll ask you first. How?
Look, yes, absolutely. I think it's gone a little bit too left of center. And I feel like we're trying to connect influencers with salons and running a business. But the more I've looked at it, the more I've actually done some, searches and what is an influencer? It's really an individual person that's trying to grow themselves as a person to obviously make some money. So I don't believe for our industry that's necessarily what we actually need. I think we need salons to be able to get bums in seats. So if we're talking purely about, an influencer being able to build a salon, I think it's quite different to being an influencer trying to build a brand for themselves to make them super amazing. So I guess the question is, which way are we rolling with this? Because that's my thoughts.
Yeah, wonderful. So, Renee, do you think salons chasing viral content are being led in the right direction when it comes to real influence?
As a social media educator, what I come up with so often is I have salon owners that land in my workshops. In the last 2 years, I've traveled around Australia doing education classes, and I go around the room and I always like to see where everybody's at. I want to see where their mindset's at. And I always ask them, what is your biggest struggle? What are you most, what stops you from showing up on social media? And the biggest thing that they say to me is that they don't want to show up on social media because they are afraid of their peers judging them because they don't have a large enough following account. They are not worthy enough to be on social media because they don't have a large following. And this is where, for me, I really struggle with I struggle with this because as a hairdresser of 25 years, I built a successful clientele without social media. And, I had so many people reach out to me and go, "Oh, I'm losing followers by the day." And I'll say to them, "Okay, but what's going on in your business?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm busy and I'm booked." And I'm like, "Okay, so stop chasing the vanity metrics as a business owner and start focusing on serving your audience and serving the clients. Like, who are the amazing clients you have in your salon? if you want to be drawing more of them in through social media, you don't have to be showing up and performing as an influencer does to try and win over other hairdressers. Your job on social media is to put out content that draws in other clients and fills your books, not, ticks a box of going viral. And the pressure that salon owners feel because of, and this is the thing, what happens, Emily, is that as hairdressers, we are inspired by the Sharon Blains, right? So we follow and we look. And then the younger generation as well are also influenced by who they look up to as educators. And so what they do is they come in and they view them on social media, which it's very smoke and mirrors, social media.
Yeah.
And they look at these educators and they look at influencers and they go, oh, that's what they're doing with their social media. And they're handing out this advice to business owners. But a lot of the time, a lot of influencers now are not actually business owners. They've gone the path of selling online subscriptions. They've gone the path of selling global education. And so if you are a salon owner and you're trying to attract local business and local audience, you don't have any purpose of having to go viral or to have a large following. What you need to focus on is having a built community that is going to be of local business owners or local clientele that are going to speak your name in a crowded room. And this is where the lines get blurred, because they're attending education where educators are influencers who are telling them how they create viral content, and it's being sold to them that this is success is when you have a certain amount of followers. And it's not true. They're being sold this story that is not actually accurate for their own goals. And so I always say to my clients, what is your goal with your business? What do you want to do? Do you want to be an educator or do you want to be a business owner? I want to be a successful business owner. Amazing. So watch the advice that you take online and make sure the advice is relevant for what your goals are. There's too much looking at what others do and not enough focusing on who am I as a business owner and what do I want to put out to my clients and what kind of business do I want to build. So yes, I think this vanity metric chasing is so toxic for our industry, and it's leaving salon owners defeated, deflated, and feeling anxious around putting themselves out there because they are performing for the people who aren't even going to be paying for their services. So I see it so much.
All right, quick interruption, because without you and your engagement, I can't keep growing this show and bringing you the juicy stuff that actually helps. So if you're loving the Dressing Gown CEO, please take 30 seconds to leave a review. It seriously makes a huge difference. And hit subscribe while you're at it so you don't miss what's coming next. I want to keep giving you value, but I've got to know if this show is helping you. Now, back to this incredibly valuable episode.
I can't agree more with that. I really believe that salon owners are feeling like they need to push themselves in the direction of being some sort of influencer just to get people in the door. But, that is not what it's all about, in my opinion. There's a line down the middle, and there's that one individual who wants to be an influencer, and they will do and walk over hot coals to do whatever they need to do, say whatever they need to say, shoot whatever they need to shoot, just to be getting the likes. A salon owner, in my opinion, is someone who uses social media as a billboard for their own advertisement for their business. Years ago, I spoke to Emily recently about when I had my salon, and I had 46 staff just in one salon alone. And that was only about 10 years ago I had that salon. And we had to pay a lot of money for social media, not for social media, but to promote my salon. So whether it was at the movies, whether it was a billboard on the road, whether it was paying for advertising in a newspaper, that was the way we promoted businesses these days. We have it very easy as salon owners these days because we can use social media and not have to pay those massive expenses to promote your business. But how you promote it to get the right people in is how you need to do it for your brand. You don't need to copy what somebody else is doing and think, that's the way I have to do it because that's what they're doing. You have to stop being influenced by other people and create what you need for your own brand to thrive and prosper.
Absolutely. And this is the common thing, Sharon, that I see is that, there is so much social media education that encourages viral content and focusing on going viral, and it doesn't serve doesn't serve our industry of business owners. And
No.
at the end of the day, viral content, right, is absolutely for someone who is trying to get a global reach. Yes, absolutely, because your goal on social media and the metrics you need to be focusing on, if you are trying to attain a global audience, you absolutely need to be going viral. But business owners, hairdressers who are in a area, in a brick and mortar store, do not need to be focusing on that, because there's no point your content going viral and reaching someone that's in England and you're in WA, where I am. Like,
Exactly.
they're not gonna convert. And so I
Yeah.
think there needs to be a better, and I'm an accurate reflection of that. Like, I am a social media educator. I only have 5,000 followers. I don't try and go viral because it's not of interest to me. I've been viral several times. What does it do? It actually, all it does is it just ticks that little dopamine hit that people get. And so I think also as well, you know, we need to check in with ourselves as hairdressers and as individuals. And, you know, hairdressers are so focused on wanting to look like, you know, when I say to hairdressers, what do you want to do? They're bringing up other hairdressers' pages, and I'm like, absolutely not. Like, you are not here to blend in. You are here to show what makes you different, what makes you unique. And I always say, I'm the non-sexy social media educator, because I don't give the fun and exciting things in my classes. I give you the steps to break down how to actually create a brand that is aligned with your values and your own morals as a business. And I think this is the thing as well, is like, you need to be creating a brand that's based off values, because you will build the most loyal clientele if you stay aligned to your values. And I think because of social media, values have just gone out the window.
Oh, absolutely. Anything goes. To be honest, you know, this going viral, I just think it's a bit of a joke. I mean, we did a post and it went, what, 3.5 million? And I thought, oh, okay, I got 3.5 million. Like, wow, big deal. You know, I don't even look at my numbers. You know, I've got a reasonable following of people, but for me, I am true to my brand every single day we post. I want people to be educated. I want people to learn from me. I want to be constantly being able to give them something that might support them and help their skills. You'll never see me having breakfast or my grandkids or going to the gym or, you know, shopping. That's not what I'm true to. I'm true to what I'm true to. And I think this is what businesses have to be. I mean, if I was a salon owner today, I would certainly not be caught up in this posing models in a particular way and everybody looking the same and the same blondes and the same curls and the same curtain bangs. I'm thinking, how many people out there that look at that? There's not enough people to populate our salons if that's all you're going to post. It just doesn't make logical sense to me.
So I think the key here is, what are you actually doing with your social media? Are you wanting to advertise to hairdressers, or are you wanting to advertise to prospective clients?
Exactly.
So I think that line is getting blurred, where, you know, a lot of the young hairdressers are looking up to, not necessarily the older ones, but looking up to the influencers and going, oh, if I can be like them, then I'm going to be successful. But where do you want to be successful? Do you want to be successful as a salon owner, or do you want to be successful as your own brand and traveling around the world and promoting brands? And so I think that line gets a little bit blurred.
Absolutely, it does. And this is where, you know, even for me, like, what I teach, Emily, is, you know, there's two paths that you can take on Instagram and this is pure marketing, like, this is marketing 101. And, you know, at the end of the day, you either have the business route that you can go on social media, and then there's the ambassador route, and both of those are totally fine, but they both require a very different strategy. And this is what hairdressers, when I work with over the last 2 years of traveling around Australia, seeing over, you know, 250 hairdressers in my classes, they are all focused on the ambassador metrics, and then they wonder why they feel frustrated. They say that social media doesn't work, and I'm like, it doesn't work because you're not using it and lining it with your personal goals. You are literally just monkey see, monkey do, taking what they are doing and then trying to apply that, and it's not working because it's not the business model that you are trying to achieve. And this has been my biggest work that I'm trying to do in industry is trying to get them to understand that. But again, it's the non-sexy stuff that is the stuff that I'm trying to get out. So it sometimes is like, and I always say to them, I'm like, your brain is going to hurt when you leave my class today. Going around Australia and meeting with salon owners, is the biggest thing I always ask them is like, what are you focusing on? Like, what do you want to do with your, with your business? And a lot of the time they are so, I guess, they're so focused on looking at what educators are doing versus actually understanding as business owners, what are their own goals? What are they trying to achieve? And what are they trying to build? Because they're literally spending so much time on things that really don't matter and focusing on things that aren't going to drive their business forward. And then they get frustrated, they feel disheartened, they really struggle with mentally showing up, and they go through this season of like they'll show up and then they won't because they feel so anxious around what they're doing. And I just don't believe that this is the message that our business owners need to be focusing on. Instead, they need to be focusing on who are they, what do they want to achieve, and being able to stay in their own lane on social media. And when you do that, you will absolutely drive in the right kind of clients, and you will build a brand where other hairdressers will actually want to come and work for you. And that's the power of using social media for business owners in that lens, is you actually will then attract high quality staff who are drawn to you for what you're doing as well.
And I think that's what the message needs to be, because I think people are disillusioned, they're stressed, they're anxious, particularly salon owners, because they see it as a massive workload for them over and above running a business. I mean, first and foremost, you've got to have a good business model, and then you work out how you're going to promote, do the marketing to actually get your business model to be what it needs to be. And it doesn't need to copy and paste from what somebody else is trying to do. And you don't need to do all of that stuff to bring people into your business. But you need to know what you want to achieve. I think goals are vital.
So you feel that we're placing too much emphasis on personal branding over professional skills when it comes.
Well, I think Emily, it's everybody is a personal brand, right? Like everybody, even as business owners. Like, I don't think personal brand is the issue, because I really believe that brand is actually the fundamental of being able to, when you have a strong brand, and I'm talking salon owner, I'm talking ambassador, you need to understand what is it that makes you different. Because in marketing, differentiation is key, right? Like, and I always say to my salon owners, if you don't build your strong brand foundation, that is the fastest way that you will get eaten up in the industry in terms of blending in, because you don't have a clear voice, you don't know who you're trying to draw in, you don't really understand what it is about you as a brand that makes you different as a salon. Because there's 20 salons in your local area. So if everybody's doing long hair and blondes and not actually, how do you then position yourself for people to come to you? And this is why they have problems standing out, because everything's so saturated. And so differentiation and understanding and having a solid brand is absolutely the key to being able to unlock what it is that makes those salons stand out and be different. And I always bring it back to values, because at the end of the day, if we are values led in our marketing as well, we're going to bring in high quality stuff, and we're going to bring in high quality clientele, because people want to align with people who have strong values and strong morals, and those will be forever clients, right? So I think brand is essential, but I think we need to make sure that brand is based around ourselves and not just pulling bits of other hairdressers' brands and trying to make it ourselves, because that is where we're blending in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as well, when we're talking about brands as well, what responsibility do brands have in setting the tone for what's celebrated or rewarded in the industry? What are your thoughts on that, Sharon?
Oh, look, I think a lot of brands, I think they've backed too many ambassadors lately. I feel like the thing that really upsets me a lot is to see an ambassador, an influencer, I should say, that's standing there one week touting this product from this company, and then a week later they're touting somebody else's product, and this next week they've got some hair extension company, and the following week it's another hair extension. To me, I think the brands have lost their way, to be honest, because I know that they find that it's probably cheaper to put their product with an influencer because of the amount of followers they have, and they think they're going to be able to spread the word quicker through that influencer than maybe doing what might have been normal type of advertising done prior. But they're giving, they're paying big money for these people, and next minute they're turning to somebody. It's all about the dollars. So I think we see through I see through them. I see through them all the time. I feel to myself that, my God, where is your integrity?
Yeah.
But today you're talking L'Oreal, and next week you're talking Wella, and next week you're talking O&M, and next week you're talking this, next week you're talking that. I don't understand why the brands still invest in these individuals that will give everyone a voice, that will take on everybody for the sake of a holy dollar. So I think, they need to really rethink what they're doing, because I feel that they've backed a few horses that have not done them any favors. And these people have turned out to be not so popular for various reasons because of their bad behavior. And yet, it doesn't make the brands sit well. It doesn't sit well for our industry when you've got brands doing that as well. So, yeah, I think they need to have a little look at themselves, to be honest, and think about how they're doing it. And the one thing that I get very, very sad about is, as a past salon owner, and probably one of the, like, for instance, my company, I was probably one of the biggest spend for that company.
Yeah.
And yes, they looked after me. But in this day and age, they're not looking after those people. The people that are spending money with them, they're spending money with some person, some individual on the side, and to make them look good. They forget the people that keeps the doors open. They forget the salons that are spending big money with them.
Yeah.
And they should be working with those people and not necessarily think, oh, I need an influencer because they've got the followers.
Yeah.
I think they need to really think their marketing tactics. That's just my opinion, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as well, it minimizes the trust that people have in those brands, but also in the influencer when they're doing that brand hopping. We recently received a DM just out of the blue from a salon owner that said, I can't stand these influencers that are using another foil brand when they've been using Foil Me for 6 years. It makes me not want to trust them or go to their education. And I was like, oh, okay, well, it's nice to see that.
And that's the truth. That's how people feel.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't think enough people want to voice that as well. They're afraid because of situations that happened to Renee, where they can be bullied to the point where they don't want to be on social media anymore, or they question their
You just need to block them all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think on brands, Emily, I just want to share, I have been hairdressing 25 years. It took me till probably 12 years into my career to really find a brand that I loved so much that I just refused to use anything else. And it's a brand that I absolutely love and I'm aligned to as a person because of their values. And what I love about them is that they've built their brand off the brand itself and their own values, and they haven't gotten caught up in having any and going the ambassador route at all. And they're a highly global brand, and they've built their success off the brand itself and the people versus actually engaging with having ambassadors and whatnot, which I think is really refreshing for me as a hairdresser, because people choose to stock the brand because they actually love the brand versus it being about, oh, I'm stocking the brand because they're paying me, a sign-on fee and they're paying me for, for using it. And I think when you're throwing so much money around, it sets this unrealistic expectation in industry that, they can basically just be bought, and anyone that doesn't have strong values is being bought. And then it's setting this tone that, hairdressers are thinking that that's what they need to do. But the problem is that they're not really checking back in with themselves and going, well, does this even actually align with me? And I think that's where, I have a real issue with that. Is I think as brands, I think you need to really look and go, well, at the end of the day, our brand should be strong enough that it does what it says it does it performs, it's, you know, what people are wanting, and hairdressers are using it because they love it. So you don't have any of that, because yes, when you bring in an ambassador who doesn't actually align with what you are trying to promote and wanting to put out there, it can be very detrimental to your brand. And, you know, after what happened to me, I know a lot of my audience had reached out and said that they will no longer be stocking that brand because of the fact that, you know, somebody is affiliated. And I think that's the negative side of, you know, not choosing correctly as a brand, is you absolutely, you know, you've built a successful brand, but then one person can come in because you're focusing on, oh, well, the vanity metrics that they provide you. And the next thing you know, people have lost trust in your brand because of one person. And I think that's the danger that brands have with that as well, is they get caught up in, oh, well, they've got a lot of numbers, and it's like, a great, but a numbers long term, are they sustainable? Is that what you're trying to work towards? So yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I'll put my hand up. We were a brand that fell for that. But it is hard for brands because they feel, well, I'll tell you how I felt. I felt like, am I going to be relevant anymore if I don't bring on these, you know, big influencers who are attracting such a large audience? But I realized that is the audience decision makers in the first place. So are you actually going to get a good return on investment as a brand with an ambassador that has, you know, these really high numbers in engagement and comments and that kind of thing? But are they the decision makers? Are they the ones actually who are going to invest in your brand? So there was that as well. And also, when you go back to values, I've always taught, and whenever people ask me about how have you been able to be so successful, I always go back to values, but I lost my way there, you know. But I'm glad I've learned from that.
At the end of the day, you need to, as a brand, you need to experience that, and at the end of the day, you've owned that. And I think that's also part of it, is it's not about what happens, it's what you do after and how you handle things moving forward. And I think just being transparent about that as a brand is so refreshing, because I think at the end of the day, it's natural to get swept up in what everyone's doing, but I really and truly believe that as a brand, if your product should be so good that you don't need to rely on anyone else, because hairdressers talk as hairdressers in salon. They are literally your biggest advocates. So to be spending all your money on one person who, yes, they're going to share it to their audience, but like, hairdressers talk. Hairdressers have got other hairdressers that are besties, and they're like, have you seen this? I'm using this new product. Like, they are really your advocates. So if there's something you can do to support the hairdressers behind the chair that are working, you know, and using your product every single day, and put that money into them, imagine that reciprocity that will come about from that. And I think that's, to me, where I would be going if I was a brand, is actually being with the people who are using my product, who are going to speak volumes about it anyway, and having more impact that way instead of putting it into one person. So that's just my view.
No, 100%. And it also made me realize I need to go back to the community, because we have an amazing Foil Me community.
That's why you're here for so long, right? So, and that's the thing. So yeah, I think that's so key.
Yeah.
I must say, I've made a conscious decision never to ever take money from anybody. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you could make so much money with your followers. And I'm saying, no, that is, to me, that's not integrity. In my personal opinion, my integrity and my values are so much greater than taking $1 off somebody and to promote a product. You know, I want to be seen as the squeaky clean person in our industry. And sometimes it's a little bit hard, because, you know, you can be, you know, influenced by people wanting you to jump on board with them. But it's just been a decision I made from the very, very beginning. And, you know, we have like over 200,000 natural growth. We haven't paid for anything. We haven't got it through brand alliance. And it just shows that if you've got to stand for what you believe in. 100%. Your belief is so important.
Yeah, 100%. Which brings me to, you know, legacy, longevity, and relevance. I mean, Sharon, you have brought up about you feeling a little bit like, you know, seen as a has been when you
Or a dinosaur. I've been known to be. I have heard the word used by certain people in our industry. That's supposedly me, which I think it's a little sad, but yes, okay.
Well, you did say in an article that you were interviewed in that you were feeling a little bit like maybe a has-been at age 50.
Yes, absolutely. And I do think we feel like that because I feel there's no doubt about it. Our generation is super young. You know, like hairdressers are very young.
Yeah.
And it is a very useful industry.
Mm.
But the one thing I always keep in mind, and the one thing that keeps me going, is that when I go to Europe, anyone who is 50-ish and plus, and I must say I'm a lot plus, there's a lot of pluses after the 50 for me, are classed as masters of their craft. And I want to think, you know what, I am a master of my craft.
Yeah.
And I want everybody who feels that they could wear the title to put their hand up and say, yes, I feel like I'm a master of my craft. Because at the end of the day, you need the longevity and you need this many years in this industry to honestly be able to say and hold the flag to say you are a master at what you do. And every day you're constantly reinventing yourself to prove that. And yes, it's a stretch and it's tiring and it's hard work. But you know what? I'm challenged by that every day.
Yeah.
I want to be able to create something every day for my audience that thinks, oh my God, that's amazing. I've never seen that. And, you know, we did something. One of the things that went viral was this crazy little origami fringe, which I created for an event before COVID. And I've seen so many people using it in shows lately. I saw it someone was using it on one of the runway shows in Europe. And I thought, oh my God, I've created this little trend. And I felt quite proud of that. And, you know, that's what it's all about. It's because if you don't get to this stage, how do you ever know so much as what I do?
Yeah.
And no one could know what I know because I've been in it so long and I've had this incredible career that's taken me from putting rollers into creating craziness and everything in between. So, you know, I feel like, yes, I might be termed a dinosaur, and a few people might think that even probably some of the people that are on our stage at Hair the Movement could be deemed dinosaurs. But at the end of the day, no one has the skill set that these people have. You only get that by age and longevity and continually working in the industry.
Absolutely. And continuing to improve on yourself as well.
Absolutely. Never stopping.
Yeah.
Never stopping.
Yeah. So you can prove that is BS, basically.
Well, yes, I'd like to say that. Yes, I think it's a bit of bullshit. So, yes, for want of a better word. Yeah, I'm really proud to think I could challenge anyone, any Instagram educator. I think I'd love to stand on a stage with them with a model and me with a model, and somebody throw us a hairstyle and ask us to create that.
Yeah.
And how technical and how challenging that could be. I know I could turn my hand to that and flip it out in probably 20 minutes. Can the others do that? This is the question. So this is where I feel we're getting lost in the influencer educator thing, because unfortunately they managed to find 3 tricks that are great, but they haven't been, and they can't even explain how, a lot of them explain how they even got it there. So this is where I think we're being a little bit, I think they've taken that turn too far with education. And that's why I think it's really important to create this movement to go back to core foundations. Because if you think 3 tricks are going to sustain you for a hairdressing career that could go for 10 or 20 years, I'm sadly to say that you're very much mistaken. Those trends are already out the door. They're already gone. You've got to be more skillful to keep in this industry longer. And that's be it cutting, colouring, or dressing hair. You have to be able to pivot the minute a trend changes. And I don't believe a lot of our younger generations, sadly enough, are skillful enough to do that yet. And I hope they realise that they need to know more. and what they know now, it's not enough yet.
Yeah, love that. Renee, do you have anything to say about that? Do you have
I just,
who are
sorry.
do you have clients who are older who have that
Yes, I
stigma?
do. Yeah, so the membership that I run in Perth, I bring salon owners together twice a month, and I bring them in so that we can help them to plan out what they're doing, help them go through their content, how to edit it. And probably my greatest success story has actually been a woman who's in her 50s, or she's turning 50, and she came to me not being able to edit a reel, was so overwhelmed, would feel so frustrated by feeling like she has to keep up. And, you know, I think for me, being able to work with a lot of them that are in that age bracket and to empower them to show them how to do it and break down it and be able to show them how to market themselves. And when they come to me with imposter syndrome where they're comparing themselves to people they watch, just be that voice that's like, you're not here for other hairdressers. You are here to build a thriving clientele. So stop, mute those people. Don't follow people that don't make you feel good. And I'm really big on that. I think we need to, and I always liken it to, everything comes down to choice. So when we sit down at the end of the day, we can pick up the remote control and we turn on the TV and we pop on whatever channel that we want to tune into. And it's the same thing with social media. I say to them, make sure that when you sit down on your social media, are the people that you're following, do they make you feel inspired? Do you feel positive when you leave the app? Or are you sitting there just comparing yourself to people that actually don't leave you feeling any better about yourself? Because I really believe that our experience on socials gets to be positive if we choose it to be. And so, I always say to those women who are feeling overwhelmed by what they're seeing, I'm like, if you are feeling defeated and you're comparing yourself, that's because you're actually focusing on watching people that are leaving you feeling not inspired. So don't follow them. And I think that's where, my clients who are in their, late 40s, to mid 50s can be left feeling that way because they're not sort of focusing on what they need to be doing. And so being able to support them with that has been a really big game changer. And this lady now is making the most amazing reels. She's generating clients, from her social media. She pulled in, she's a makeup artist and like event up stylist. And she pulled in the other day from her social media a $900 booking that came in from the content we put out. And I said to her, tell me now, like, do you have to be focusing on what others are doing, or is that the epitome? Because that's success. Like, that is your social media being successful, is exactly what's happened from your content going out. So I think, yes, I love working with, the women that are feeling that like, oh my God, am I still relevant? And being able to remind them that their experience and what they have, learnt and what they have to offer industry is so valuable because it's experience that none of us have had. The longer you're in it, the more you've done if you push yourself. And so you've got more to actually offer clients because you've seen so much also, right? So yeah, absolutely.
So what's one thing, Renee, if you could only teach them one thing, what's the most pertinent thing, strategy tip that you could teach a salon owner who are listening, watching right now, and they can take away and use it in the salon?
I would say to them to make sure that when they sit down to create content for their business, to check in with what it is in the quarter that they are wanting to achieve within their business. What is your business success looking like? In terms of what do you need? Are you needing to promote a new stylist? Are you needing to fill their column? Are you needing to promote the new extensions that you've put in as a new service? What is it that you are trying to do inside the four walls of your salon? And make sure that the content that you are putting out on socials, you don't need to post more, you just need to post content that is going to help support your business goals so that they don't get overwhelmed by feeling like they just need to be putting up random content about what they're wearing today or things like that, that it really is not relevant. At the end of the day, create the content that drives the business goals that will fill your clients, bring clients in the door and fill up your staff, because your success is not dependent on the followers you have or the viral content that you feel that you need to put out. It is dependent on how many bums on seats you can get in so you can make a profit. Focus on profit, not being popular. Your job is not to be the most popular. Your job is to be the most profitable. And maybe we will have more successful salons that want to stay in the business.
I love that. Profit, not popularity.
Yep.
That's great. I love it too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sharon, if there was one technique, let's say one cutting and one colouring, what would you teach salon owners now who have perhaps, or even emerging apprentices, colorists that have perhaps missed out on that kind of education? What's one thing?
Oh, look, one of the things that I am as mindful of, that being an ex-business owner, my concern is that people are doing this lived in color and they only see their clients twice a year at the most.
Mm.
And the concern that I have for this is that they've got to fill 6 months of clients between those clients. That's massive for a salon to keep every operator operating every single day of the week to make money.
Mm.
And unfortunately, 2 clients a day and them coming back in 6 months' time is not going to sustain a healthy business long term. So you have to start looking at techniques that are going to be needing to be maintained more often.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I don't know why people decided they want to give someone the option of never having to come back for 6 months. That just is not a business. That is seriously not a business strategy.
Mm.
So, although I can't just pick something out of my mind, but what you need to be doing is looking at, colored techniques that need to be maintained. Color techniques that are going to bring people back less than 6 months, maybe 3 months. Years ago, it used to be every 6 weeks.
Yep.
Every 6 weeks. And if we could push them to 4 or 5 doing partial coloring, then you would do that as well.
Mm.
So, I know these influencers are thinking they're fabulous because they can do this, and they come and they charge what, $1,500. Holy hell, do your sums. That's $3,000 a year. But if you're getting someone in that chair every 6 weeks, over 12 months, and you're getting $300 plus and more, plus the products, because the one thing you miss out on, you might give them a truckload of products when they walk out, but they're going to have to buy something every couple of months in the between time, and you're missing out on the sales of their home care. You're missing out on everything. So you need to go back and have more strategy about how you actually get people to come back in more regularly. We used to have in our salon, and granted we had a large salon, 420 was an average weekly amount of people that walked into my salon.
Wow.
It's hard to even imagine.
Yeah.
But that was the average. But the one thing we did, and the one thing that social media doesn't do, is give you repeat business. Every single client that walks out of that salon must be a walking advertisement for you, because not everybody is on social media. And if you've sent someone out with a beautiful color that's going out tonight, give her a few business cards and say, if someone says, where did you get your hair done? Here, this is where I had it done, or show them where you had it done, because you want every client to be a walking advertisement. And 85% of our clients came to our salon via word of mouth. Now, I know it's all old stuff, but somehow I think you should be able to integrate it into today's business practices to really make your business sustainable for the long term and give you a great profit. Some salon owners aren't even getting wages these days. And this is what you have to manage. You have a lovely financial freedom, and your staff need to be paid well, but you need to manage your business in a very succinct way to make that happen. And the current way social media is directing you run a business is not sustainable for any business. That's why a lot of them close down.
Yeah.
My thinking, that's my thinking.
No, and I love that, and we will let that reverberate on our listeners.
Yes. Sit on that.
Yeah. But I want to thank you guys so much for taking the time to talk about something that is really important for the future of our industry. And I hope that the listeners and viewers out there, you have some really pertinent takeaways for you to start thinking about how you're running your business or what you want in your life to influence you and your future. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having
Thanks, Emily. Thanks,
me.
Sharon.
Thank you.
Of course, of course. So you have been listening and watching the Dressing Gown CEO, where we are real, we are raw. So Sharon and Renee, would you like to share your Instagram and anything coming up or anything that our viewers can then go to look you up further?
After you, Sharon.
Okay, so Sharon Blain Education is the platform that I refer to about daily posts on skill set. And obviously, I have a few little chat options that you can obviously post your thoughts. But Hair the Movement is the Instagram page where we are posting daily all the people that are attending, everything about the event, and obviously hairthemovement.com, which is the website where you'll be able to purchase tickets. So we'd love to see you at the event and be as excited as I am about presenting it.
Thank you, Sharon and Renee.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Salon Society Oz, AUS. And if you're a salon owner who is feeling, if some of this has resonated and you are feeling, overwhelmed around where you need to focus your efforts, then send me a DM. I'd love to connect and provide business first strategy that's going to sort of, support you with your own goals and not be focusing on, other people's goals. So aligning yourself with what you want to be doing and yeah, supporting you with that is something that I love to do. So if that resonates, then yeah, send me a DM.
Beautiful. All right. Well, thank you again, Sharon. And
Pleasure.
Have a lovely day.
You too. You take care, darling. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for tuning in to the Dressing Gown CEO. We truly appreciate you taking the time to listen, and I hope you've enjoyed the episode. If you're new here, the Dressing Gown CEO is where business and life collide, raw, unpolished, and full of lessons from our journey as entrepreneurs, parents, and partners in life and business. We love sharing our stories and those of our amazing guests to help you find inspiration, motivation, and information. So I'm going to ask you a favour, and I promise that you'll get the benefit from it. I'd just be so grateful if you left us a review. It helps us reach more people just like you, and it makes the show better and better because feedback is what helps us thrive and improve. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. We've got so much more to share, and I can't wait to grow this beautiful community of people like you. So thank you again for listening to the Dressing Gown CEO. It's real, it's raw, it's the Dressing Gown CEO. Dressing Gown CEO.